Namaskar and welcome to the Fundamental Analysis lecture series. We have been receiving queries about fundamental analysis for a long time and requests for a course on fundamental analysis. Finally, we have created the course. In this first lecture on fundamental analysis, we're going to talk about what fundamental analysis is and how it works. To sum up in simple language in one sentence, fundamental analysis means to understand and analyze the basics of any business. Investment and business are fully intertwined with each other. While you are investing, you have to think from an investment point of view. You also need to consider the business point of view. Similarly, while doing business, you have to consider the investment point of view along with the business point of view. Without each other, both these concepts are incomplete. So, while doing fundamental analysis, you have to consider both points of view. Generally, people think that if they know how to read financial statements, analyze financial ratios, and how to find valuation, they will be able to become successful investors in the stock market. But this is not true. This is only one side of the coin. On the other side are the factors related with the operation of the business. For example, moat or competitive advantage, business strategies, the capability of the management team, etc. To understand these, you will have to think like a businessman. The world's most successful investor Warren Buffett says, he's a better investor because he's a businessman, and that he's a better businessman because he's an investor. So, in order to be successful in the stock market, you have to learn the skills required for investment and business. In this series on fundamental analysis, we will focus on both these things. First, we will understand fundamental analysis from the investment point of view, and then we will also understand it from the business point of view. Benjamin Graham, the author of the book The Intelligent Investor and the mentor of the world-famous investor Warren Buffett, first started researching on the fundamentals of companies in the 1920s and the 1930s. He started to evaluate companies using fundamental analysis. Later on, several investors like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger used the principles of fundamental analysis to gain success in the stock market. The factors considered in fundamental analysis can be divided into two categories: qualitative factors and quantitative factors. You can also refer to this as qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. Under qualitative analysis, we consider factors such as management, business strategy, competitive advantage, and others which cannot be measured quantitatively. Under quantitative analysis, we consider the analysis of financial statements, financial ratios, and other similar factors. Generally, we see that people start their analysis with quantitative analysis. Up until a few years back, the greater focus was given to quantitative analysis. If you read any of the books on investment from 10 to 15 years ago, or even further back, you will see that those books give the utmost focus on the analysis of financial statements. But it is important to note that now times have changed. They have changed a lot. Some of the changes have been good and some have been bad. If you look at the financial activities and businesses over the past 10 to 15 years, you will notice that the amount of unethical and morally wrong activities have increased a lot. Especially in India, this has increased a lot. In India, the laws and SEBI are not that strict. This is why, if the promoters of any company participates in unethical activities or fraud, they get less punishment. Normal investors are the ones who lose out from the fall in the stock. We saw this thing in Satyam Computers, Gitanjali Gems, which is the company owned by Neeraj Modi's uncle, Mehul Choksi. More recently, we saw this in Leal Electricals and PC Jewelers. Along with this, fraud has been evident in many other companies. In all the companies that I have mentioned, the main loss to the investors has been caused by the unethical activities of that company's promoters. We have seen several companies whose financial statements were strong, but their management were involved in all the unethical activities of the world. Before, it was a given fact that if any company's financial statements were strong, it had good prospect of growth, and it was available at a good valuation, such a company would be considered as a good investment. But now, this is not the case. In today's environment, along with all these factors, it is also very important that the company's management be honest and ethical. In today's world, honest management has become one of those factors on which you can absolutely not compromise. If any company looks good on paper, has good growth potential, good valuation, good financial statements and all other factors, but the management is not honest, then you will never know when that company and your investment will take a dive. Nowadays, this is what is happening and in very large volumes. This is why you should always remember one rule. While analyzing any company, never underestimate the power of management analysis. Management analysis is very important nowadays and should be focused on. Because one mistake in this part is enough to tank your entire investment. So, if you want to analyze any company, first look at the management team of that company. Only after that, you should focus on the other things. Otherwise, it sometimes happens that after doing the analysis on all aspects of the company, when you finally come to the management analysis, you find that the management team is not ethical. This essentially is a waste of your entire effort. This is why, if you're analyzing any Indian company, then start with the management analysis. In the second part in this series on fundamental analysis, we will understand management analysis in detail with the help of some case studies. We hope that you have liked the first part of the fundamental analysis course. In the next part, we will discuss several interesting things related to management analysis. See you in the next part.